What is up? It is me. It is I. I am the greatest there is, the greatest there was, and the greatest there ever will be. I am greatness personified. Myself. Yes! Yes! Stoney greatness, and I am here.
Oh, that was good.
Thank you. I am here with the man of the hour, the myth, the legend, the author, the activist, the philanthropist, the educator, the innovator, the poundinator.
Oh, God. You know I'll be with you most of the time.
We gotta try something new. We gotta mix it up on top. So show some respect. Bend the knee. Because they come from all across the world to see the man who wears the crown that hangs 2 inches from the ground. He is your king, my king, King Kevyn!
Thank you. What's up, everybody?
Oh my gosh, my intro would be tearing me up because they're so good. Huh. They're so good. I be tearing up myself sometimes. Thank you.
So what's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of the GreatMines Show, where greatness resides. How about that?
Where the greatness resides.
I was going to do it, but I'm not going to do it. I ain't going to do it to the folk. And we got to introduce Thor because he keeps popping his head up or whatever. And this is Thor.
Yep.
Thor the Great.
Thor.
That fits in one palm.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at me like, wow, you got me up right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so today we have a really interesting conversation. A couple of things happened over the week, and we want to jump into those things. We felt like they were noteworthy.
Right.
Things that we should mention. So earlier
throughout the week.
Yeah. I mean, so we try our best to pick out some of the best topics, some things that are relevant. So much happens throughout the week. It's hard to touch on everything. But the first thing that we will touch on is earlier this week on social media, we learned that one of our favorite shows, Legendary, is officially canceled.
Yep.
After 3 seasons. It's because Megan left.
I don't know.
It's because Megan left.
Well, I blame Discovery with their recent acquisition of
I have a new kitty, and she'll be all over the place. So I'm gonna let Stoney talk, and I'm gonna get her quiet.
Yep. Go get the new pet quiet. So it's gonna be me and Thor here with everybody talking about Legendary being canceled. But no, I blame the folks at Discovery because they are, since they've acquired HBO and Time Warner, because HBO falls under the Time Warner umbrella, since they acquired Time Warner Studios, they've cut a lot of unscripted productions. And they've also cut a lot of scripted productions. I mean, Time Warner owns the movie rights to DC and their comic book characters and everything else like that, and they canceled Batgirl, which was supposed to be a big deal. They canceled it. According to them, it wasn't up to snuff. But this definitely coincides with their whole approach to governing and of their recent acquisition and their purchase of Time Warner, shying away from reality TV shows and competition shows, and more or less trending towards scripted shows and everything. So apparently there's a dog outside too.
There's animals everywhere. I can't do nothing about the dog outside.
Everywhere. Yeah, no.
I can do something about the animals inside.
Right.
Outside, out of my control. I think that it sucks that they are getting away from reality-based TVs and competition shows, because there's a genre, there's a market for it, obviously, and they like stuff like that will exist on other streaming services and networks. But Legendary was a HBO Max original.
Right.
So if HBO Max doesn't exist, then now I'm gonna tell you why I'm more upset about this than just like any other programming on HBO Max right now. I'm a big comic book fan, but I'm more Marvel. Disney takes care of that. There are a few things DC that I watch, but with Legendary, it's for us.
Right.
It's something that speaks to our community. It shows the world a different side of our world. It gives you guys a glimpse inside of it. So to not have some type of representation like that, it really does suck. And again, I blame Megan leaving. Megan left, and then they sold HBO Max. That's what happened. Is that not what happened?
Well, Megan,
yes or no?
Megan apparently makes the world go round.
Megan, and again, we love Kiki, but Megan left, and it was like, yeah, Kiki, we love you, but we need Megan. Megan not coming back? Okay, we got to cancel the show.
I don't think that's how it went.
I'm sure it's how it went. I promise you, somewhere in the ethers, the powers that be said, we need Megan, and because Megan won't sign another contract with us, and we don't know this for sure. I'm just, hypothetically speaking. But I actually do wonder what her contract was.
Right. So and we know that a person who has there's a big person who works with Discovery, a black billionaire-ist. We all know who she is. Okay. Talk about Oprah. Okay. OWN, which is her Oprah Winfrey Network. That's a Discovery channel.
Okay, I know that.
Yeah. So she can definitely assist, and I definitely think that if I feel like the show being canceled is an opportunity for another network, Amazon Prime, Jeff Bezos looking at you, Netflix looking at you. All
you
right?
know what will be great, and I think that it will up the ante. Disney, I'm looking at you.
Oh no!
I know Disney's not going to do it.
They're not going to touch this with a 3,000-foot pole because of how they botched the whole stance and with their employees as far as the don't say gay bill in Florida. So
they're fixing it. Remember, they fired that CEO.
Bob
Chapek,
Bob Iger
is coming back, and he criticized Bob Chapek for not stepping up. Right. It's
convenient to do that from behind the scenes.
Right.
But when you're at the helm captaining a ship like Disney, you don't want to rock the boat, And I think that now that he's back as the CEO, we might not see that. Now, he can definitely step up and say, hey, because the thing with Bob Iger is that he's very much about quality, whereas Bob Chapek was all about making sure that the shareholders were taken care of.
Right.
And the thing with Bob Iger is that he understands that you got to spend a little money to get a little money.
Right.
And the shareholders are okay with that, especially with Disney because they got money to burn. So since they have money to burn, I understand your notion that the fact that they could be a place and a potential home for Legendary.
Yeah.
But I think that the style of show it is and everything, it definitely fits with Netflix. I think that Netflix would be remiss if they didn't pick it up.
So here's something I want to
develop something similar.
So it won't be the same. If you give me a show similar to that, and I don't see Deshaun Wesley, if I don't see Laomi, if I don't see Jamila Jamil, if I don't see Megan Thee Stallion, I don't know if I want to watch.
Notice we left someone out.
And now no shade towards Keke Palmer. If she came back, I'd be fine.
Well, I'm not even referring to Keke Palmer.
And if Keke Palmer didn't come back, I would still be fine.
Yeah.
But I need Megan, Laomi, and Jamila Jamil, and Deshaun. So give me them on another network.
We don't need you.
And I'm never going to say your name.
Yeah, no.
I'm not even going to say your name.
We don't need you at all.
If they don't have King Kevyn up on that panel, let me stop. Because that's not my lane.
Because he was only good for one catchphrase.
Right.
That was it.
That was, and it was a catchphrase.
It's a catchphrase.
But no, we good. Anyway,
Yeah.
how about this though? I think that we as a community should start a petition to bring Legendary back for a 4th season because we want it. This isn't like Pose where there's a storyline that we're following, and once the story's over, it's over, and then the writers have to come up with something new. This is a competition show. This can go on for years, and it should. I really think it should. It should, because there's going to be new generations of people coming into the ballroom scene.
Yes.
And there already are new generations. You got the Kiki scene, which the Kiki scene won last season.
Exactly.
So there's so many talented young people and older people in the ballroom scene who should get that
platform.
That platform and spotlight.
And exposure, because you got to figure so many people. You look at Carlos. Carlos, he was a Lanvin or Levin. Now he's Basquiat, but he's out there choreographing things. He was the dancing cop in the Blues Clues movie.
Nice.
The voguing cop. He was a voguing cop. Would he have gotten that opportunity without being on Legendary?
Maybe, but it wouldn't have been as streamlined if he wasn't.
Right.
Like the talent is undeniable that's on that show.
So many people got opportunities.
Yeah,
from
DYU.
Yeah.
He kills it.
Yeah.
He's been killing it. Like actually, that entire house, Juicy, they've been working nonstop since the season ended. Literally working nonstop.
As they should. You got like Honey Balenciaga. I mean,
yes.
Honey was hot in the ballroom scene anyway. But
the thing is, it gives space for them to go into mainstream and people to, and they don't have to put on. Oh, I have to act like I'm straight.
Mother Balenciaga is now a mainstream,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Thing, and she should. That woman is gorgeous. But
I don't know that people understand. Like, it is a show about the ballroom scene. It is something that props us as a community up.
Mother Tishi out there on like so many opportunities.
But let me just get this statement out first. There's so many talented people or whatever, and you made me forget what I was about to say. God darn it, you interrupted me. That's on you.
I'm sorry.
But one way or another, we should start a petition.
Yes.
Oh, the point I was about to make is, even though the show is based on the ballroom scene and it features a lot of people from the LGBTQ community, I'm more than sure a lot of its viewers were heterosexual people, because it was just a great show. That was a show well done. If there was ever to be a show about the ballroom scene, they did it, and they had the right people on the panel, aka Leomi.
Yes.
So
yeah.
We hate to see it go.
Yeah, we do.
So again, if you guys are with me, I'm gonna figure out how we can do this. I really think we should start a petition.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna reach out to
Leomi. Change.org and because I think that's where the petitions all go and start at and stuff like that. But we should definitely start a petition to get Legendary back. Definitely don't bring the Roach back. I'm tired of the wigs. I'm tired of I'm tired of all the like, and there's a line where you are being critical and you are being a jerk, right? And the Roach was a jerk.
So there was one moment, and we got a little time before we can move on. There was one moment where I was like, wow, we're really about to go there, when he called out one of the performers as if they about to go outside and fight.
Right.
And it was like, oh, come on, you have to do all that. But at the same time, it was true to form. Because that's what happens in the ballroom.
Yeah.
So it was real, but they did not promote violence. He said what he needed to say, and he sat down, and they made up. And then I also think that after that happened, he started kissing their butt a lot.
Oh, yeah, a lot, yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, because he probably got dragged on social media. And
of course he did.
I mean? Yeah.
Of course he did, because like certain people were good and they just wasn't seeing it for them. And again, true to form, that's what the ballroom. If the judges don't see it for you, they don't see it for you. And if they don't like you for whatever reason, unfortunately, they can hold that against you, regardless of how great your performance was. Not that they were the best performers, because they weren't. But Anyway, so we are again sad to see it go.
Sad to see it go.
But we'll hopefully see something else pop up, or see it pop up somewhere else.
And we're very, again, congratulations, Keke Palmer, on a new baby. Laomi, hopefully there's more projects, and I'm pretty sure that you can definitely work with another network in order to develop something.
Yeah. And Deshaun Wesley, I mean, you have your hands everywhere. I know he's worked with Logo a lot as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully between you guys and the powers that be, and Jamila is also a producer on that show. So hopefully the powers that be will hear our cry and give us what we want.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to move on to our next conversation. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to let you take the lead on this one because you know how I feel.
So, going to take a trip down to Zeus Land again. We've been touching on the whole Bobby Lights, Bobby I Love You Per fallout and everything. We touched on a reunion and how crazy that was, and was this particular dating show like, an accurate or good representation of our community and the people in our community? It's debatable.
Yes. Actually, no, it's not.
And
it's very clear.
Yeah.
This was a pretty poor representation of our community. Now, with that being said, I do know at least two people that was on that show who are actually decent people for the most part. But, for reality TV and for reality TV on the Zeus network, they want the drama.
Play a part, yeah.
They want the drama. That's what that network is about, unfortunately. They've branded themselves. But, those things that we watch are for entertainment purposes.
Right.
So when we watch these stories unfold, regardless of how real we think reality TV is, we also understand that a lot of those elements are scripted or fabricated.
Yeah. Put in place,
They're orchestrated.
So basically, we touched on the winner, Island Boy, and whose real name is Jameson, and then you got Gohard, who is Cash, who came out as a couple. Apparently they recently broke up, and it was a whole lot of drama behind that. Apparently Cash, and Jameson, who is Gohard, or Jameson, who is Island Boy, and Cash, who is Gohard, they kind of agreed to kind of, I guess, fake a relationship. And this has all come out on Armand Wiggins' podcast, because Bobby Lights made an appearance on Armand Wiggins' podcast. And Armand Wiggins has been in the middle of all this. Because he's had the contestants on, and then he had Bobby on to kind of set the record straight. So for those of you that didn't see it, Bobby played a clip. He recorded a conversation with Island Boy that he was having on the phone, which again is illegal. But neither here nor there. It was juicy, and so
juicy stuff have you getting yourself sued.
True. So during that recording, Island Boy was explaining how him and Cash had an agreement to do it for clout after the show, and that Cash had a boyfriend living with him at the time, and the boyfriend didn't really understand that it was, just for clout. But Jameson, Island Boy, had a conversation with Gohard, or Cash's boyfriend, and Jameson decided to not deal with it because he's still in love with Bobby, apparently. And all this was played out on the recording that Bobby was playing. And he kind of blacked out, he kind of bleeped out a portion of it. And if you watch the video is out there. You can literally search it. But when you watch the video, because the podcast is also being recorded at the same time, when you watch the video, after he kind of, mutes out this certain part because Island Boy is explaining, things about the boyfriend and Cash and Gohard, and their relationship. He tries to mute a portion, right? Mm-hmm. But he then goes, and he's on a mic, just like there's a mic here, right? There was a mic right there in front of Bobby, so he then goes to the host, Armand Wiggins, he kind of bleeps it out because it's like, and his ex gave him, and then he bleeps it out. It's like, oh, I don't want to play it, but as you're watching the video, right, because it's being recorded, he goes to Armand Wiggins, who's like kind of in this same situation, this kind of sort of arrangement. He's like, HIV, and he's not whispering it like very much like HIV. It's like one of those deals, okay? Now, we are not trying to disclose anybody's status here. It's just that we're reporting on events that happen.
Now,
okay?
If you followed my career in the past 9 years, I guess at this point, I've been an advocate for people for ending the stigma of HIV, and I've been a spokesmodel for campaigns for education around HIV and PrEP, and I've worked for I guess the past 8 years in HIV research and community work relating to this. One of the biggest things that gets underneath my skin with this, like y'all know, prior to now, I don't really care to talk about that show or the people on that show, but with this one, it hit home. It was a little personal because that's the worst thing you could do is out someone's status. And it wasn't even just a one-on-one conversation with Armand is his name. This was on a podcast that is going out to the world. And this person did not disclose their status to you for you to even tell it. You got it by way of somebody else. Regardless of if you heard the recording, that person still did not come to you and say, this is what I'm living with or dealing with or whatever the case may be. The biggest one of the biggest problems I have with that is that's why so many people live in secrecy. And people want to blame the person living with HIV for not saying anything, but we see people do stuff like that and we laugh at it, and then we start pointing fingers at the person who's positive, but that was nobody's business but his and the people that he sleep with and his doctors, if it's true that that's what he actually has.
Right. Because it's allegedly. I mean,
it is. I mean, I haven't
never disclosed himself.
I haven't seen any paperwork. He's under no
obligation to either.
He's that part. That's the whole thing. He's under no obligation to tell anybody except for those he sleeps with and his doctor. So why now? We don't know if Cash and Bobby had sex, but it's still not Bobby's place.
Right. As far as we know, no, they have not.
Right.
At least everything.
But, I mean, because we know everything, right?
And it definitely, and I also blame Armand Wiggins on this too. Armand Wiggins plays a part in this too, because of the fact that he kind of escalated it. Because after, Bobby kind of indicated that, instead of just leaving it, Armand kind of gassed it up a bit. Was like, oh my gosh, he gave him what? He gave him what? He gave him what? And then Bobby kind of compounds on it and then says, a house in Virginia. Like, we can't, like people aren't smart, you know what I mean? And that is definitely code.
But I also feel like
that's
they
an
did
established code for that.
I also think that they did that because they knew people would understand it. And then you say, oh, well, all I said was house in Virginia. I never actually said you had HIV. But
he did.
You did.
You did.
You did.
You did, sir.
We were having a conversation last week about this was offline. Stoney and I were having a conversation about and I was saying that I think that if a woman cries rape or whatever like that, and the man is arrested or whatever like that, but then it's found out that it's not true, she should face the same charges that he faces. Now, in the world of HIV, because it is a whole spectrum that is encompassed in that, there's certain states where HIV is criminalized. Now let me explain. If a person has HIV and does not disclose it to their partner, in some states it is criminalized, and a lot of people and activists are trying to get that repealed, and because it's an old law that needs to be updated, because we now know that with PrEP you can protect yourself from HIV, and if you have HIV or if you're living with HIV and you're on your retroviral medicines, then you are undetectable and you can't pass it off to anybody. I think the same way that they tried to criminalize people living with HIV for not disclosing is how they should be criminalizing the people who go and tell someone else's business, because you don't know what type of harm or danger you could be putting a person in based off of you sharing this information.
Right.
I really hate, and no, I stand by that. I really think that they should criminalize that action, because it happened a lot less.
No, yeah.
Because it's because they say in the past, if you live with HIV and you have sex with someone and not tell them, it's attempted murder. That's how people try to criminalize it. So you're threatening physical harm to me by outing me to people who have nothing to do with me. There are people who are hateful just because.
Right. There are a lot of uneducated people. We live in America.
And we know how that works.
Okay. A lot of uneducated folks around. A lot of folks who, who hold small minds, and aren't willing to, understand facts.
And that's the thing. It just takes a moment to sit down and read something. If you can't read, it takes nothing to have a conversation with a person. Doesn't even have to be a person living with HIV. Talk to a medical professional who knows what they're talking about.
Right.
It takes nothing. There's too much information out in the world, on social media, on the internet, on TV, on YouTube, wherever, to where you can educate yourself. So ignorance is a choice for those people. Like, some people just don't know because it hasn't been presented to them. Others who choose hate choose ignorance.
Right. And it is definitely sad, especially, and I think that is something that we as a community need to really, really hold ourselves accountable for.
Agreed. And each other accountable for.
Yeah, we got to, because you can't, you can't go around pulling people out of the closet. Right. Okay? And the same deal with it, the same goes for people's status. You can't go around just disclosing people's statuses, especially if they're not open with it.
So I'm open with my status.
Mm-hmm. Right, but he is open, but and that's his friend, but I don't, and I know that as his friend, but I also don't go around waving a big old flag that says Kevyn, Kevyn status on it. I don't do that, and I don't just bring up when people that we may know, you know what I mean, bring him up in passing. I would say, oh yeah, no. And just like they don't, because it's a level of respect.
So the fact that recording came up makes it intentional, and it makes it malicious, because you intended to out him. There's no reason for you, who was not a part of that original conversation, to mention it at all. But the fact that you had this recording, the fact that you brought it with you on this podcast and you played it, and then you joked about, that was malicious intent. That should be criminalized. I'm not saying lock him up, but
yeah,
because if we don't step up as a community to stop stuff like that, it will continue to happen. We're running out of time for this topic, but something that I always say, because I am so pro on ending the stigma around HIV, because I feel like once that stigma dies, that's one of the first steps to eradicating it. But we can't do that if stuff like this happens. There's no accountability. There's no justice for the person who was outed. And again, if the person's telling their own business, then it's just a regular conversation. Like, I know there are plenty of people who have conversation about me and my status. I've outed myself. It doesn't matter. But for someone who has not, that could be very dangerous.
Right. And
it keeps the stigma going. So.
And I'm like this. Treat it like you would if you got to treat it like you would if they were honestly negative. No one goes around talking about, hey, I'm negative. Hey, I'm negative.
Right.
But
that's not true. That's not true. People do that. But the problem is they do that to attack or offend a person living with HIV.
And that's just wrong.
It is.
And I'm saying either way, you shouldn't go around gloating the fact that you are negative. All right, because again, you don't know who is positive and what they're dealing with. And the same deal with people who are positive. You can't go around telling people that they're positive, because you don't know, what could happen. You may say that to the wrong person, and then that person may panic and then go and do something terrible to somebody else. You know what I mean?
I just hope that, one, you all, now this is something serious, share this conversation. I want people to educate themselves and for us to get to a point to where if you heard those words HIV, it doesn't become stigma. It's not so dirty and nasty to hear those words, because we know that people are living longer, healthier lives, making babies and all, that are coming out negative. I just wish that we would eliminate the stigma and stop treating each other like the other, and they're part of us. That being said, I know. That being said, we are going to move on to this next story, which again, I'm going to let you start that one.
All right. So, we have been covering, and we've covered the family that is the Wades. You know, we talked about Zaya.
Yes.
You know, and her transition.
Jesus. I feel for this girl.
The uneducated and ignorant backlash that, you know, comes with, you know, a public figure, a trans public figure like that happening, especially a black trans public figure like that coming about. So recently on social media, and a person who seems to have opinions on all things LGBT, you know, Lil Boosie.
He's the expert.
Right?
He seems to be the expert.
Such an expert on all things LGBT and so on. So he came across the video that is, I want to say, about 1.5 years old or 2 years old or somewhere like that, of Gabrielle Union responding to a question, because she's at a, you know, Q&A and everything, responding to a question where someone asked her, okay, well, Boosie is, you know, Lil Boosie had things to say about you guys, you know, promoting, because at the time they were basically, you know, making it, establishing an accepting and safe environment. They were trying to establish that publicly for Zaya with you know, them coming out as far as her, you know, her being, you know, LGBT in the beginning, and then, you know, with the whole transition thing. And so Boosie, you know, had some opinions, and she responded during that Q&A. She basically said, you know, Boosie has a lot to say about what's going on in the LGBT community and has a lot of opinions and seems a little bit insecure with what's going on in that community. So is there something you want to tell us, Boosie? Because it seems to be getting you up in arms and everything when it really doesn't have anything to do with you. And so, you know, and so he finally came across that video and went on a whole Twitter rant of, you know, basically saying how you can't question, you know, a hood dude's, you know, manhood and stuff like that. And he questioned Dwayne Wade's manhood, said that we all know your husband likes, you know, likes peen. And it was a whole lot, you know, but it was all late and wrong.
Right.
That's
right.
the thing. And again, Boosie, you know, like Boosie, really. Like, and I'm talking to you right now. One-on-one. Greatness to Boosie, okay? What is it, sir? Like, what has you so concerned about what's going on in the LGBT community and who is LGBT and why they're LGBT? And then why is it such a problem with, like you don't speak out on, you know, Chaz Bono. You didn't speak out on Chaz Bono.
It's interesting. You know? I am in my head, and I hate to even mention this person's name at this point, but I'm going to venture to say this, and if we gotta fix it, we gotta fix it. But the hate and the ignorance that is spewed from Boosie is just a different topic, because that's almost, I didn't even say the point, but that's pretty much the same thing that Ye is doing, just towards Jews.
Yeah, no, it is.
So it's the same thing. Like, it's not what the way a person lives their life does not affect you one bit, but you are all up in the mix. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm connecting it. It's because as a celebrity, you influence the masses. There are people who are probably on the fence, like, yeah, I could just mind my business. But then they see somebody like Boosie saying and doing stuff like this, and next thing you know, they jumping on the bandwagon with him because yeah, it's little Boosie. Nah, that's why stuff like this is important to speak out against. Right. Now, Boosie, now I'm speaking to you. If one day your child came to you and said, "Hey, Dad, I like the same gender," I know you're gonna have a problem with it. I know you're gonna probably rant and rave, have a hard, give them a hard way to go about it. If they are adamant, you probably would disown them because that's just the type of person you seem to be.
You seem to be, yes.
But this is it's. I lost my train of thinking because I'm looking at this conversation I'm having over here too. Sorry. But to me, again, he's the same. You're doing the same thing and you spoke out against Ye at one point. Mm-hmm. That's the funny thing. You spoke out against the ignorance and the hate of what Ye is doing and saying, like, okay, bro, tone it down. You're doing too much. But then you double down. At this point, you quadruple down on this topic of LGBTQ individuals.
Right. You always have something to say. You always have an opinion of a group of people who don't affect you. Okay? Don't affect you at all. I would go as far to say as they don't even like. And is it jealousy because this particular community doesn't support you?
But that's not true.
Because there are people in our community who do blast your music and who do, you know what I mean, and everything else like that. Should they? Based off of your comments, no. But I think that you made that bed yourself.
Of course.
As far as that goes. So if you are kind of, mad or in your feelings, because you don't have many LGBT fans, it seems like you don't want any anyway.
Yeah.
So,
but see, now I think this is where you gotta wise up because you don't know who is. There's a lot of people who are on the DL. There's a lot of lesbian women.
And I'm pretty sure you got at least 3 guys in your circle.
I'm more than sure. Maybe,
at least 3.
Yeah. But you know what they say about people always got something to say about something. 9 times out of 10, they're the ones dealing with it themselves.
Right.
It's like, are you dealing with some self-hate?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen plenty of it, and I can identify self-hate when I see it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's starting to look like. Because, I mean, I get it. Some people do ask your opinion, but I don't have an opinion easily. But you speak out so much, and you try so hard to prove to the world how straight you are. What skeletons are in your closet? Anyway,
were you in jail when you were in jail? Did you have a
Oh, that's not gay because we're in jail.
Did you have a wife while you was in jail with a bunch of men?
No, we were in jail. It's not gay.
Because Boosie, you seem like one of them. You seem like one of them dudes who,
And right, and that's why I feel this way. Like he's trying to distance himself from that and paint a picture so that way no one could try to associate him.
Or were you somebody's wife in jail, Boosie?
You remember about those politicians who like tried to strike down gay rights, but then were found with like male escorts?
Oh yeah.
It's like, what are you? This is the perfect example of Herschel Walker. I want to strike down abortions, even though I've encouraged or forced some of my old mates to get abortions. It's the same thing. So I mean, apples and oranges. It's the same concept, right?
So
we're all fruit,
and Boosie might be a fruit too.
A kiwi.
A little hairy, little full of seeds.
Anyway.
Oh gosh, but yeah, Boosie, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Everything that goes on in the LGBT community does not concern you. All right.
And we would really appreciate it if you kept your opinions to yourself.
Yes. All right, because
it don't matter to us.
We have a whole lot going on over here. Yeah. Okay, we're fighting right now for our right to marry, and everything.
Our right to live.
Yeah.
How about that?
We don't need you.
I got another point to that.
A person of notoriety. Like I said, there's already enough hate in the world.
Right.
Why is it that you want to contribute to it? And
beautiful question. I love that.
Again, black people, okay? Gay rights are about civil rights.
Completely.
Okay? Gay rights are civil rights. Okay?
Human rights.
Civil rights are rights, period.
Yeah, they're
Okay?
human rights. See me as a human.
Yeah.
Period.
And black people understand, right? That if rights are taken away from gay people, all right, there is nothing stopping the government. If the government can take rights away from people for just being gay, there is nothing stopping them from taking the rights away from you because you don't look like them.
Could you imagine if this abortion repeal was just a trial to see if they can get away with it? And then they talk about they want to attack gay rights, and they even mentioned interracial marriage.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
in fact,
these are
the Senate just passed a bill protecting equal marriage equality and interracial marriage, because of the fact that the overturning of Roe v. Wade opens all that up for debate.
Exactly.
Like, that's the reason.
And the only reason why they would do that is because they would see us less than human. This is immoral to them. And they don't want to be educated. They don't want to learn. They don't want to know about our plights and our struggles, even though they're causing most of it. I like how you mentioned, like, why would you want to add to the hate that we're experiencing? And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because many times on our show we've mentioned how within the black community there's so many sub-levels of hatred amongst ourselves. It's like, we have those who, like, I don't care what you are, who you sleep with. You know, you my family, you my bro, you my cousin. That's all that. And we have a lot of people like that. But then there's those little clusters of people who can't get past their own closeted behaviors to just embrace life. You know. I'm not gonna get into the religious thing because I know that plays a part.
Right.
And then it's the societal thing of masculinity, trying to maintain that look. I remember a conversation I had with Bishop Carlton Pearson. It's an old interview. I don't even know if you know who that is. I'll tell you about him later. For those of you who know, you know who he is. And he was a past. I'll give you this much. He was a big time bishop who he made T.D. Jakes famous. He made Juanita Bynum famous, but T.D. Jakes is the big one. So you know who T.D. Jakes is.
Yes.
He made him famous. And the church ostracized him because he had a couple of theories. He said that he doesn't believe that there is a hell, and you know, church lives off of fear mongering, so that's a no go. And then he said he believed in gay rights or whatever like that. And he's like, you know, when we were talking, he was like, a lot of men have a problem with homosexuality, but we don't talk about homosociality. In other words, a bunch of men in the locker room after a game, naked, completely comfortable, jumping, playing around, smacking each other's butts, all that stuff is natural. And no one thinks anything of it. I don't know what that is. I didn't even know my sound was on. Sorry. I was watching a TikTok where a girl was like, men do things to impress men. They don't do stuff to impress women. Even down to the woman that they have is to impress other men. Right. The cars that they drive are to impress men. The houses, the clothes, all that stuff, it's not for the women. It's for men. It's for other men to impress your buddies, your bros, you know? That's what it is. There's a social side to homosexuality or man-to-man love. Let me take the homosexuality out of it. The man-to-man love and intimacy, because it is still intimate, that a lot of people just don't even acknowledge. But if I lay with them, then it's gay. There's so many things that can be said to this. Yeah. Let me take it back to Gabrielle Union, and Lil Boosie with this child, Rosea. We mentioned last week, children are off limits. We do not bring children into it. Now, we understand that all of this controversy is because of a child who who is transitioning. That still gives you no right to have conversations and talk about it. Now, granted, Boosie did also mention Dwayne Wade, and he did mention Gabrielle Union and all that good stuff. He was attacking them. But at the end of the day, are you in their bedroom?
No.
Are they in yours?
No. And is Zaya in your bedroom?
No.
Like, are you concerned that Zaya is going to, get with one of your kids? If that's the case, then your kid obviously likes it, Boosie.
I ain't even going to hold you. Zaya has turned out to be a pretty young lady.
Zaya
on top of
is
it.
Gorgeous.
on top of it. So leave them alone. And if they pop up in your DMs, okay, you can say something about that. Not attack them, but I mean, it's a conversation that started. Speaking of conversations and DMs, last week we talked about the idea of things that I hate to experience on social media, and I want to talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what the king hates.
Social media message the king hates.
So for those of you out there that are looking to shoot your shot, all right, at the king,
you better have very good aim.
All right, you want to be the queen, or the king consort, then listen carefully, because he's going to give you how not to approach the king.
Now, if your objective is to get ignored or blocked, please follow these instructions or do these things that I'm about to mention. All right, I'm going to start with this one. When a random profile hits me up and there's no picture, there's no information on the
So are
profile.
We talking about hookups, apps, or just social media, period?
Social media, period. So it's more prevalent on hookup apps, but people treat Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook like a dating app a lot.
Yeah, no, a lot of people.
I've gotten messages from all three of those sites. I've gotten them on TikTok. I've gotten them on Jack. I'm not on Grindr. I actually still have Adam for Adam.
Oh.
And I oh my gosh, if I logged into that and showed you what's on that. Oh. So it's a question that I get asked, and it's what you doing or where you at? Who is this? And why you want to know where I'm at? Leave me alone. There's no introduction, no nothing.
I don't know you. Get off my purse.
And then get an attitude if I don't respond. I've received random ass messages from people with an introduction. Hey, my name is, or hey, I'm not trying to shoot my shot. I just want to let you know that I appreciate or I admire, da 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 da. Those are all respectable, and I can appreciate that. And those people get conversation. No matter how close or far they are, I will have conversation with those people. But those random, what you doing? Where you at? What you looking for? Want to chill? No, I don't want to chill. It's none of your business what I'm doing, where I'm at. And what I'm looking for, if I was looking for it, I would tell you. I would hit you up and let you know. All right.
I mean, going back to, when, because you and I, we met before we really, started hanging tight and everything. We had met, and when you were starting a business venture that we went in together.
Yes.
That's when I, had approached you, and even I sent you a message introducing myself, even though we've already met.
Right, but we weren't as close as we are now. That was the beginning of this great union that we have. We're married. I don't know if you noticed or not. We're married. So no, that's just annoying. An introduction. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's not a guarantee for a response.
Right.
It's not. Which leads me to another thing.
Might get a thumbs up.
Maybe. When people gets upset when I don't respond. Even with a picture on their profile, even with something written in their description, even with, if I don't respond, I may not be interested. I might be busy. I want you to do me a favor, Stoney. I'm about to go to this app, right? Hell, I could have just did it that way. How many messages do I have right there?
Sweet Jesus.
Read that number for me.
704. I didn't even think that those things could go that high.
You guys think I'm getting to all of those messages? Yeah, not happening.
Wow, the most that I've ever had was like 6.
So it's very difficult for me to even if I wanted to.
704. That's how many. That's how much in centimeters. Sweet God.
Nah.
It's probably more.
No, stop.
It's way more
Stop.
than that. But,
stop it. Which leads me to my next thing. Nudes. Especially when I see nudes with no face. Now, I'm going if it's a nice picture, I'm going to admire it. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But it will not get your response. I hate receiving pictures of nudes with no, like, because the next thing is, what if I was interested, right? But you gave me nothing but nudes. I have enough booty calls, I have enough sex partners or friends with benefits or whatever you want to call it. So I don't need to add more to it. I'm not missing anything by not adding another person to the roster. So if you are trying to shoot your shot, even if we're just a hookup, you gotta do more. Which leads me to my next thing. People say this to me almost every day or every other day. I know you hear this a lot, ... Then why are you saying it? Or what are you going to do that's different to get my attention if you know I've heard this a lot or I've heard this before? I'm sorry. That's my own little thing. You looking at like, yeah.
You know, the woes of being a beautiful, you know, gifted.
You know, it's crazy because
individual
outside looking in, it's like, Kevin, you're crazy. I wish.
God.
But inside looking out is a whole different experience, and it's like, how dare you complain about that? Some people don't get any of that attention.
Any attention at all.
I get it. But all attention ain't good attention. You said, give me some attention. Give me some. No, all attention is not good attention. And everybody's intentions aren't in a good place. So, you know, it's hard because there was a space in my life where I would, because I'm a people pleaser. And I'm trying more now not to be. But there was a time where I would try to respond to everybody. I would try to befriend everybody, and I just stretched myself too thin.
See, even with my measly 6, you know, back in the day, it was not like, if I didn't want to respond to you, I wasn't going to respond to you. You know, regardless, you know what I mean? If you wasn't it for me, then you wasn't it. Right. You're not going to hear from me because you're not it.
And I don't know you. You don't know me. I've taken nothing from your life, nor have you taken anything from mine. So if you went on for the rest of your life without a response, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Like, you didn't respond to you before. And that's the way I feel. Like, you know, but 704.
But then how about this? These are different things. Hold on, wait. These are different things that will keep me from responding to you, right? But at least I didn't block you yet. I mean, so
I was also good for that back in the day. Like, you know, I would block the uglies. Oh, block.
So, honest, I get messages from all types of people. So I don't look at a person, depending on how the conversation starts. Yeah. I don't look at a person's picture to say, "Oh, I'm blocking you. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking more of the character. This one person hit me up on Jacked and was trying to shoot their shot at me. They wanted to hook up, and I asked them, before we go any further, have you read my profile? I said, oh, it was a lot. I didn't read it. Block. Mm-hmm. Block. Because it's going to tell you everything you need to know before we swap numbers, before we swap Instagrams, any of that stuff. All the information is right there.
Because reading is what?
Fundamental. Maybe I should just do bullet points. Maybe it's just too much wording. Maybe I should just do bullet points.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
No. America, read.
Please.
All right?
I lost my other sleep.
Because if you can't read, you are going to miss out on a lot. All right? If you can't read, you can't drive. Okay? You can't get around. Because if you can't read, you don't know where you at.
Right.
Like.
So, this isn't going to get you blocked or anything, but I also think it's funny. It's the last thing I got on here right now before we wrap things up. Why are you using Venom's photos? I get messages like that quite often where people think that I'm catfish. And now that, I just find to be flattering. Sometimes I will respond to that one because it's fun. Like, I like to play games with people.
I never think, I was never.
Never what?
Never accused of catfishing anybody. You know.
Maybe you should catfish somebody. You don't win nothing out of it. Just do it for the sport. Apparently, I do it all the time with my own pictures. Apparently,
I believe it. The woes of a beautiful person. Like, all
right, so this segment's called "The Woes of a Beautiful Person," and thank you for the compliment because that means you think I'm beautiful. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, me and half the universe, like sweet gravy. Like God, I'm pretty sure that there are at least 45 million alien civilizations who would be like, yes, immediately.
They wouldn't even like humans.
They would be like, beam him up, Scotty, right now. Like, that's what, yes.
Thank you.
Me, they beam me up and then throw me right back out the window. I don't want this.
I disagree, but okay. This list could get extensive.
Lucky somebody wants it out there. Shout out. Shout out Better Half of Greatness.
See, that's the good thing for you. You don't gotta worry about this crap.
Right.
Because you already got yours. You got your better half already.
Yeah. I gotta worry about keeping it up because I gotta keep the better half's attention.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, you know.
I was about to say something.
That's work.
Just don't wear a C ring.
Better half's coming around.
Really?
Better half is coming around.
Nice.
Coming around.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been some good times, with it. It's not as stigmatizing.
Good. Good. I'm happy to hear that. Hey, PJ. All right. So before we go, I need you guys to do me a really big favor. I need you guys to go to this website right there and purchase your copy of A Life of Lust, Memoirs of the Porn Star. Again, if you want to know more about me, and so you can shoot your shot, it'd be so dope. It was like someone came to me and was like, "Yo, so when you were singing with the Short, and you met Stephanie Mills, and that situation happened, I felt for you.
That was a crappy situation.
That wasn't that crappy. That was crappy. Or when we talk about Hollywood Street and hand sanitizer, you would know what I'm talking about if you read the hand sanitizer story. Tell me that's not a story.
That's a story.
There's a story about potato salad in here
hilarious.
that you guys would right now. That one was hilarious. There's a funny story about potato salad in here and cold water. I'm telling you guys.
Hilarious with the hand sanitizer. Hey, Crystal.
Why would you call her? You know how many times I've told that story and I have never called her out, although it is in the book.
We love you, sis. We love you.
Man.
Give our love to hubby.
Yes, please. I'm just looking through the book now.
Oh, good times. Good times that book brings back. Oh my goodness, I love it.
Wow, it's so interesting that I opened up to the part about Bishop Carlton Pearson. I just talked about him. Now I opened right up to it. It's all in the book. What did Jennifer say? Rap for my book. Tap, tap, whatever she said. We're going to do it for the book, all right? Get your copy of A Life of Lust, Memoirs of the Porn Star right now on the website right there. That being said, join us again next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have more great conversation. I think we should do more segments like this, things that we like and dislike, just giving our taste and opinions on those things.
Yep, I think that was fun. That was definitely fun.
Yeah, did you guys enjoy it? Let us know in the comments if you enjoyed that.
Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that to us here at the GreatMines here on Kevyn M's channel. All right.
Help us to get these views, because honestly, we need to get these views up. Help us get these views up, and then we're going to start another channel specifically for the GreatMines Show. Right. We're going to revamp a lot of things for you guys, but help us get these views up.
Let us know what you like. Let us know what you want to see. What
How
do you
about
want
that?
us to talk about?
Because we've been doing all these reviews and talking about social media stuff and everything like that, but we I think we can take some notes from you guys. If you guys have something that you want to talk about. Hell, if y'all want to open up to where we can bring you in to chat with us or join in our conversations, we can do that if you like, So let us know in the comment section. Remember what Stoney said: like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos with others. Anything you want to say to the people, Stoney?
Thank y'all for coming. God bless you. Good night.